Hey folks, this is KirkAlmighty here. This is a new PBEM game I just started right here. I just completed my move. I set my production here on turn 1. Now my opponent is the IronDuke. The IronDuke over there on the Matrix forums. I expect this is going to be a pretty tough fight. I readily admit that the IronDuke has more PBEM experience than I do. I'm by no means going to be a pushover for him, but it's definitely going to be a good fight. Now, we both agreed. I made the suggestion, and we did agree that a three-turn diplomatic block will be in place. So, for at least 3 full turns, there can be no war decks on each other. This is turn 1. Now, I've already completed my turn here. All I have to do is hit end turn. But mainly what I've done is I've rearranged my forces here. And what I did is I took all of my units and condensed them down into one formation here. Each of these stacks of units on these cities. And I'm going to let the TOE system sort them out and really move these forces around. It can do it more efficiently than I can, because a lot of these forces here, you see that this is like a combination of all the 3 units that sat there on this hex. Now some of these sub-formations I don't really need in a garrison, so I'm going to leave some behind in a garrison. And what I've done is the one that was left, I assigned them all as a garrison. These garrisons were assigned. I should give that garrison a symbol here. We'll call the garrisons that yellow guy right there. Now these garrisons, yeah, see, they really pop and stand out. These garrisons are all going to just have 40 rifle in them. So the SMGs, the machine guns, the mortars, any of them that have engineers are going to get. It's all going to get pulled out by the TOE system, sent to Supreme HQ, and Supreme HQ is going to send them out. Now I assigned. We started out with 11 stacks. I assigned 5 units as, let me find one, as engineers, 20 strong. So it'll be able to reinforce all these up to 20, and then there'll be 10 engineers left. It should be sitting at OKW. I have assigned these leaders names, although I have not actually purchased the leaders yet. You see what I'm doing there? I'm kind of holding out on my PPs a little. I'm trying something new here. I want to see if I can get a fairly early factory up without actually having to produce any PPs. I want to use the PPs I started out with. Now in each of these stacks, after I moved the units around and created these garrisons, you know, I had the empty counters left, and I just took those empty counters and I strategically moved them up to the front to these armies and attached them to the armies. It doesn't cost anything towards your transport capacity to move an empty counter. So a little trick I learned a while back. So I've moved these empty counters up to these armies. Now these 2 guys up here, they both have 8 counters. They're going to start out initially with 8 formations under their command. And you can see I've assigned some names to these. We got von Kleist, we got von Rundstedt, von Klug. Down here we got Bach, and of course at the bottom Model. Now you notice I haven't used the names of any of the more famous Panzer commanders here, like Rommel or Mainstein, but I will be using them as I later on. I'm sure I will be building some mobile type armies, or armies at least that incorporate some mobile units in them, and that's when I'll use those leaders. And now I have no actual leaders in these units. It's just straight HQs to try and save a little bit on the PP here in the beginning. By the time combat starts, or literally right after combat starts, I will be purchasing with PPs at that time leaders and assigning them to these units. I may also, in order to be more conservative, because I'm trying to be as efficient and as conservative as I possibly can in my build-up right here to gain as much advantage as I can, or lose as little advantage as possible to my enemy's build-up. But I will most likely pull this guy out of here and probably assign him to one of these armies around here. At which time I'll probably also rename him, because I'm not going to stick with that name. I'm going to go with the actual German leaders from World War II here. And also, you notice too, I have not created a template yet for my infantry units out there in the field, because I did not want to assign them yet here on turn 1. I'm trying not to overwhelm the TOE system as much as possible. I want right now the TOE to focus on just pulling the units, the excess units out of these garrisons, and reinforcing the few garrisons, because I created a couple too. I created some garrisons on some of these resources that are close to the border with the enemy. And of course, every production city is going to have a garrison on it. I'm playing a human. It's important to use garrisons when you play a human, because a human will do things like airdrops and things behind the enemy line, and the AI will not do that. So you don't want to get just ambushed and have one of your production cities get whacked or something because you didn't leave a garrison on it through some kind of airdrop or something like that. So always a good idea to take any production cities, any you know, I didn't build a garrison right there. I should do that too. Let's do that real quick here. Yeah, I can spend one more PP. And we'll assign him to OKW. Okay, template is going to be right here, garrison template. Okay. Alright. So anyway, the TOE system here, then I'm not going to overload it. Hopefully he'll pull everything out of here on this first tune. I've also let me show you my production here real quick. You can see in the production that I'm producing more trains, more trucks. They're going straight to OKW. Everything else, in order to help the TOE system along, you see I'm sending reinforcements directly to these field HQs. You go right on down the line here. This way it's going to make it a little easier on the TOE system to get things done that I want it to get done. It doesn't use any transport capacity to send these reinforcements directly to the field HQs. It's going to save in transport capacity. It's going to make my TOE a little bit more efficient. So the objective is to at least be combat ready by the end of turn 3. Doesn't necessarily mean I'll be ready to go and declare war on the enemy in turn 4, but if he declares war on me, I will at least be combat ready. And I think that is all I want to do this turn, and that's the gist of what we're looking at. Modell down here is going to be getting SMGs. As you can see, he's going to be very active in jungle warfare. So there's a lot of SMGs you start with that start out in these starting units. See, I got 15 SMGs on each one of these garrisons right now. These SMGs are going to go to Supreme HQ, and then they're going to get sent out to Modell. Modell's got some SMGs coming in too from just production for the 2 cities are sending their production to him. He's going to be the only SMG army I'm trading right now. The rest of these are going to be rifle. Even though you could argue the use for SMGs around here, there is some forest, but these forests are surrounded by a lot more farmland and plains. So I'm going to stick with rifle on these other armies here. And you see I'm creating 2 armies up here in the north. I think this is my most vulnerable spot. If he's going to come at me really hard offensively, I think it's more likely he's going to do it in this area somewhere, right here, than down here. For one thing, I have more defensive terrain down here, and also he leaves himself more exposed if he's going to try and push into here to some kind of a counter strike on this flank down here. So I believe this area of the map is the area which is, and you can see I got 1, 2, 3, 4 armies right around here. This is the area of the map right around here where I believe I'm going to be most vulnerable. This is my most vulnerable city on the map right here. What's the name of the city? I don't know how you'd say that. Kronach. is my most vulnerable city on the map. Alright, so with that, I'm going to sign off as the commander of the German Army, Air General KirkAlmighty, and we'll see you in the next episode.